What's going on, guys? This is Shane Baker with Shane Baker Studios, and today I'm going to walk you through a Levitation photo shoot that I did in Sedona with Liliana and how we created this final image here. So it's been kind of popular on one of my pages that I post to, so I wanted to go ahead and share the techniques on how I created it. So I took Liliana to Sedona. There was a great location. There's some ruins there, and it's by this creek. It's just a really cool space, and the first thing you want to do is take a base shot with nobody in it, no model, nothing. So this is their background. And I took 3 of them. I don't know why, I just did, but I took 3 base images. We're only going to use one of them. And then we're going to start up here on the top. This is the first shot that we took with Liliana. And you're going to notice that there's a igloo right here. And under the igloo is 4 large rocks that we used to prop it up. It wasn't high enough on its own, so we wanted to get it up off the ground. And what I was going for was kind of a dreamlike state. I wanted her to give the illusion of being in a bed, kind of peacefully floating through the air, maybe coming down out of the sky, something like that. And one of the challenges that we had is because it's this hard plastic, it's really unstable, but she was such a trooper. She went in there and really did a great job. So as we're shooting, the first thing I'm working on is my lighting. So you can see the highlights are a little bit blown out here. It's a little bit too bright. And I've got a flash up here in the top right corner coming down to illuminate her to help out because it was a little dark in there. But once we got, here we go. This shot, exposure looks pretty good. And the next thing we're working on is the coaching and the relationship between the photographer and the model. And I'm helping her get into the mindset and telling her the story of what it is that I'm trying to create so that she can give me the performance that I'm looking for. So I'm looking at hand positioning. I'm looking at her head position. I'm looking at her legs here, what they're doing. I'm also looking at the way the dress is falling. We're looking at all those things in every one of these images. So here she's looking at the camera. You could tell just because of the angle of her body, what she's lying down on, there's a lot of strain here, especially here in her forehead and stuff like that. So that wasn't working really well. So we wanted to make sure that we found a shot that gave that peaceful look while she's levitating. So this is the final image that we actually settled on, and I really liked it for a couple reasons. Number one, I love the position of the feet here. They're coming up above the ground just a bit. And the strain in the face, you can't see it because she's facing away from the camera, which I really like. And the hair falls real nice here. And the other big thing was knowing in the future that I was going to Photoshop out this igloo. I wanted to make sure I could see both of her arms in the image, because if I couldn't see both arms in the image, then I was going to have to reconstruct one or Photoshop one in later on. Because if this isn't here and you can't see her arm here, you're going to expect to see it on the other side kind of hanging down behind her body. So I didn't even want to deal with that piece in Photoshop later on. So if you go through these images, you'll see that she's giving a performance, kind of getting into the character, and just so many great shots. But ultimately, pick the one that we really thought was great. And the one thing we're going to do is just a few edits in here. I'm using Capture One to edit my raw files, and I think it does a better job than Lightroom or Photoshop at really rendering skin tones incredibly well. It's better than all of them, in my opinion. So the first thing I'm going to do, we've got the mounts bumped up to 300, looks good. And let's come over here. We're going to go ahead and bump up our contrast, just maybe 3 points. And highlights are still just bring those highlights down just a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and pull both of these images and export them. So click on this little output wheel, TIFF always, location desktop, output naming, Shayla Hess. Okay, that's a Phoenix Suns dancer I photographed. This is Liliana. Perfect. And go ahead and process those. So it's going to render those images for us, and we're going to pull them into Photoshop. Okay, so here's our base image. Here's the image with Liliana. So we're going to copy Liliana, and we are going to paste her on our base image. Then we're going to come over here. I'm going to hit Alt, and this little box with a circle in it, it's going to mask. It's going to give us a mask layer right here. Then I'm going to come over here, pick my brush, and I want to get a larger brush. We're going to do a really rough job of putting Liliana back inside. So my brush is set to black. I'm going to hit X. That'll set it to white. So you want your brush to be the opposite color of the layer mask. And what that allows you to do is paint back in that layer just like this. So like I said, we're just doing a rough job. We want to get her back inside the image. And then once she's there, let's get her feet. Perfect. Maybe a few things down here. Then what we'll do is we'll come down here with the smaller brush size, maybe bump up the hardness a little bit, and we're going to start fine-tuning this. And the way you want to do that is you want to set this back to black so it's the same color as your layer, and then it's going to take this layer back out. Now I'm using the mouse, I'm using the pad on my laptop, so control is really poor right now. So obviously if you're using a mouse or your tablet, you're going to have better control. But this will give you a rough outline, a rough idea of what we're trying to do. So you can see we've taken out the igloo. I'm going to go ahead and, looks like it took too much of her arm out, put a little bit of it back in. So what you'd want to do is zoom into this image, harden up your brush, make it smaller, and really get in there and do all the fine details. But even as a rough job, you can see that we've accomplished most of what we're looking to do. So here she is, she's against the background, and it looks like she's levitating. So I'll merge those layers, I'll make a copy. You can come in here and do some really cool things. So I'm a big fan of gradient maps. You come in here, let's do a gradient map. We'll set this to, there's a lot of green in this image, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll bump in, yeah, right about there. That looks good. We'll set our layer mask to soft light. Then I'm going to drop my opacity down to probably around 20, 13. That looks good. So here's what that did. Look at the greens. It just put some more greens in the shadows and some more oranges here in her skin. Looks good. I like it. Very cool. So there's a lot more you can do in here. We're going to use skin smoothing. You can, what else can you do here? Let's do this. I come over here. Let's do another curve adjustment. We can kind of darken this just a little bit. And then we'll invert this. Then we'll take our brush. We'll set it to white. Make it nice and big. Oh, a little bit larger. And we come in here, kind of do a small vignette. Just so it brings more of the tension, the focus on her over here. A lot more editing that you can do to get the kind of look that you're going for. But ultimately, we've given Liliana the appearance that she's floating, which is what we wanted to do. I hope this helps. Take care.